Let's hear from people in the audience. Without you, I'm a guy in a room with a microphone talking to no one, and it's sad. So that's why I want to hear from the people. We take calls via Discord. You can find our Discord at davidpakman.com/Discord. This could be interesting. Let's go to Wasif. Wasif, I can't see. Are you from Bangalore? Is that what it says?
Bangladesh. I'm from Bangladesh. Dhaka,
Bangladesh. Beautiful. Well, welcome to the program, Wasif.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to talk to you. So I have a very specific question. I have been, I'm someone who's, pretty much intrigued and interested in overall, let's say, international politics, right? And especially US.
Sure.
I think it is very interesting. So this is what I have, somewhat, understood regarding the landscape. Right now, I see, we know that US has two major like political parties, right? But if I had to divide the kind of people that are currently in involved in politics, let's say mainstream politicians who are working for the government, right? So I see like there are some very pro leftist, the AOC and the Justice Democrat types. Then you have the completely far right wing type of people, most of them endorsed by Trump, you can say Trumpist. And then you have the typical status quo, middle of the ground, in a lot of sense they might be like libertarians, and in foreign policy they are more or less like neocons.
Sure.
And right now, like since we have a war in Ukraine, and there are a lot of issues that is being generated by that war, and someone who is let's say anti-war, I think there is a chance that like, do you think it is possible for the the right wing side, more or less the extreme side, I would say, and the leftist side to come to an agreement and form some kind of coalition like the other international countries, where they make sure that they can form a coalition to get the neocons out of power or something like that? I think that would be very interesting.
This is very interesting, Wasif, which is there's this new kind of anti-war right, which is, it was really spurred by Trump saying, Hillary will get us into wars, but I won't. So you've got that contingent. And then you have the people like me on the left who have been saying the U.S. is too involved globally. In many cases, we have no right and no responsibility to go and, quote, spread democracy. So couldn't they come together? It's a beautiful idea, Wasif, but here's why I don't know that it will work. The Trumpists who claim to be against war, they're not really against war. They're for whatever Trump tells them they're supposed to be for. And they will, on the one hand, say, war is bad, we're not going to do it, we're not going to do it. And then at the same time say, whoa, Joe Biden isn't doing nearly enough in Ukraine. He should be sending troops and he should be sending drones. So they're not genuine in their opposition to, quote, war. They just want to be contrarians, and they want something to be able to criticize Democrats with.
Yeah, I think you're right in that sense. But like, this is what I want to say. I think there is a side of, let's say, the Republican fan base, right? Who is, like somewhat, jumped on this bandwagon of anti-war, especially, after, Tucker Carlson is doing all those stuff, promoting, let's say, Putin's favorable comments, even though, from a country like mine, we have, strong ties, more or less with Russia, because they were one of, the Soviet Union were one of the, funding prime allies who helped us in our, independence.
Yes.
But I would say that, even in that scenario, I think, there has been, like, I've been feeling that, there is a, significant possibility of creating such a scenario where you have people who are on the right, but they will at least oppose let's say too much getting involved in wars, right? And like I said, I don't want to extend this question further, but I think there are some left wing people right now who are actually getting involved with Tucker, right?
Yeah.
Some people they call them, like let's say loony left or something like that. But
No, I
they think,
understand. I think I get the point,
yeah,
Wasif. It's just a question of
yeah,
whether they would really work together in a good faith coalition or whether everybody's really
yeah.
there, for their own
Yeah,
reasons.
I think for a country like US, who is like we have people like us, we see US getting too much involved in war, right? I think they should at least try to do this idea, like we the right says, let us get some of our compromise, and left make some of their compromise, and then the benefit will be getting the neocons out.
Sure,
I
sure.
think
No,
that
understood.
same thing happened.
Wasif, listen, we've never had a call from Bangladesh before. What's going on in the background? I'm so curious. What are the noises we hear? Where are you?
Oh, well, my house is pretty near the, somewhat main street, I guess. There is a mosque nearby, and,
Oh, okay.
it's a Muslim majority country. The holy month of Ramadan is going on. So, people are coming out of mosques basically, and, the noises are from mosque.
Beautiful. Well, listen, I appreciate the call. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. There is Wasif from Bangladesh. Compelling stuff. Very, very interesting. One of our longtime sponsors is Vincero Collective. If you don't know Vincero yet, it's the place to go for quality watches, sunglasses, and more. Serious style, undeniable quality, and total versatility put Vincero really at the top of the game, and their newest watch release is no exception. It's the Argo Automatic. It spotlights everything I love about Vincero. I got the Argo Automatic in frost white. This is a dive watch, which is, of course, a staple in the watch world, but I really think Vincero found a way to make this one stand out. I love the gradient blue accent of the hour markers against the solid white face. I really love all of their watches, and I own a bunch, but the Argo is probably my favorite so far. Vincero sunglasses and jewelry and other accessories are awesome too. An excellent way to elevate any outfit. Vincero Collective is giving my audience 15% off all products and free shipping. Go to vincerocollective.com/Pacman and use the code Pacman. The link is down below.